Notice over here on the left where it says PLC1. Let me do
Yeah.
this. Make this. If I click on PLC1, you can see right here, I can actually pick what Allen Bradley device it is. So if I hit the pull down, it could be an old PLC5, SLC, or a Micrologix.
Okay.
And then I just need to make sure my IP address is good here, and that's pretty much it. So let's pretend, team, this is a Micrologix. So I go over here, and I'm going to rename this guy AB underscore Micrologix.
Okay.
And I love naming things. So that's going to be the Micrologix. Maybe I'll do this. Give me 1 second. Let me do this. I'll do underscore 52, for instance. The reason I picked 52 is I just picked that default address, and that last octet of the address is 52. So let's say, team, I had another one here. I can click back here on protocol 1, and I can click add additional device. Boom. You get PLC 2 or 1 here again. And this guy, I might say, you know what? This is number 53. So in that case, I would call this guy Micrologix 53, for instance. And so forth, blah, blah. Anyway, that would set those up. So those are that type there, and this one like that. That's it. Notice the big difference. This guy's there. This guy's here. Yep. Now, if I go to protocol 2 and hit the pick button, let's say protocol 2, I happen to have an RSLogix 5000 based product. Then I would click this native tag VL5K plus, and I'll click OK. And this might be a ControlLogix. So over here on the left, I'll call this guy AB underscore ControlLogix. Like that. And then, of course, I need to make sure the address or the IP address is correct. I'm not going to worry about that. But with the ControlLogix, in the Rockwell software, you can open up their software and there's all the tags. And in Rockwell software, you can go File, Save As, and you can choose what's called an L5K import export. And when you do
cool.
that, yeah, the Rockwell software will create a file. And then once you have that file, you simply go here, click this browse button, bam. And then you got to find the file. So give me a second. I have a bunch of examples here. So let me go find it real quick. So I have a bunch of examples of many customers L5K files, but let me do this simple one here. This one right here has some stuff. So I'll click this guy. I'll click open. Now that puts the pointer here for that particular file. However, if I wanted to add from that Rockwell software tags into Crimson, watch how cool this is. If I slide all the way down to the bottom, you're going to see this button right here called Create Data Tags under Device Commands. If I click that, bam, oops, I didn't click it right there, click it. Look, it brings up the file. Now, these are the files or the tags that were in that L5K I just used. So, for instance, if I had an AIO function block here, I wanted to add all those over here. I could click Add, bam, puts them over here. Let's say I got some UDTs in here. What do you got here? Got some UDT. Yep. Let's go ahead and click all these UDTs. Boom. Puts them over like that. I don't know why it keeps collapsing, but puts them under here. And I'm going to leave it like that. Now, if I click the create button, I should have showed you before, but over here, data tags, there's currently nothing there. Can I move this? Yeah, I can't go there. But anyway, there's no tags as data list right now. If I hit the create button, bam, say yes. Say yes again. Crimson is going to recompile. And now if I go over here, I have AB ControlLogix, expand this, controller tags, expand my AIO. There's that bunch of tags already mapped, or my UDT. I got all those tags all built in here, ready to roll as well. So that's been really a cool feature.
That is really cool. Yeah.
Yep. Now, one thing you don't see here, let's be honest, let's pick on the old Slicks Micrologix, since generally they're not tag based, although you can in RSLogix 500 export some kind of tag listing, but it's not quite as easy. But let me show you something here. If I go here to data tags on top, I'll create a new one folder, and I'll tell you what, team, I'm going to call this AB underscore Micrologix tags.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to create a new tag. Boom. An X, just this little button right here, creates a new tag, or you can right click and do a new tag. Numeric. Numeric is a real or a integer. A flag tag is a boolean, and a string tag is just an ASCII. And the basic, I don't know what they do with that, but so watch this. If I click on this tag here, notice that the color of the X is currently blue. Whenever you click on something here, that means everywhere in this part of the screen is focused on that particular tag. And you can see the source right now is internal. So if I hit the pull down here, because I named those items, I could click right here, boom, and I can go right here. And these are nothing more than the registers in Logix 500. These are your N7. You've got your floating points, your reals, floating points, your strings. Yeah, so if I wanted to go to, say, my integers, I can go here. I'll just leave it default, click OK. And now this is mapped to, watch this trick, team. N7 is the default for this guy, _0. I picked 0 because it's element 0 here. Watch this trick. The next one would be 1, next one's 2. Over here on the left, I can click this button, Smart Duplicate. And as I do that, notice two things. The tag and the pointer automatically goes in. So anyway, yeah. And then, of course, what other, do you have other PLCs in your plant? I thought I heard GE the other day or something. What other plant PLCs do you have?
He's got the Schneider.
Yeah. The
So
Modicon.
Yep. Does the Modicon, well, it should. It supports Modbus, doesn't it, I believe, for protocol? I think it does.
Yes, but I think a lot of the communication is done through FIPWay.
Yeah, that's that old
Yeah.
old thing, yeah. But anyway, I'm pretty sure besides FIPWay, it'll do Modbus also. Now, if those are probably old enough, they don't have a Ethernet port on them, do they? Or do you know?
Some of them that we have do have an Ethernet port, yes.
Well, if they have an Ethernet port, then you could go to protocol 3, hit the pick button, and you can go down here to the word Modbus right here, and you can pick, would be a master to those because most PLCs act as a slave device to something pulling them. So I'll go here, there, and then I might call this guy, click here. See how the last octet is 100 by default? Of course, you can change that. I'm going to call this one Modicon _100. And now in here, let me go over back to data tags over here. Let me create a new folder. There we go. I'll create a new tag. And this one, if I hit the pull down, because I named that, you can see it right here. I'll click on this guy. And most of the time in there, you have Modbus registers. The holding registers are bidirectional. They start at the 40,000. The analog inputs are the 30,000 series. The coils are the zeros. And the digital inputs are the 1,000. I don't know whatever happened to 2,000, but they never made the list. Anyway, if I go to holding registers, there it is. I'll leave it default. Boom. And watch this. Over here, just like I did with the Allen Bradley, I call this one H4K for 4,000 register _1. Oops, I'll make that big. So just like I did before, if I hit the smart duplicate, boom, boom, the register over here increments, and so does the register number. So that's how you can talk to the Modicon PLC as well. If you doesn't have Ethernet port, let's say it's older, it probably still has an RS-232 or 45 port on it. Over here, down here under the comms, these are our serial ports. You could click on this COM port here, for instance, which says programming, but honestly, it's just another serial port. Back in the old days, people use that for programming, but now it's just a serial port, RS-232 port. I can hit the pick button here, and in this case, I can go back down to the Modbus word here, and here, and you can do this guy set up as universal master on serial. So here I go here, I get a device, and whoops, all your default settings here. I'll do Modbus RTU right here, and I might call this one RTU _1 because This is not an Ethernet base, so it's serial. So this is drop number 1. And if I go over here to the left, click on programming, just like I did with the other Allen Bradley, I can click this add additional device. And you can see every time I do that, I get a couple more. Now, this name doesn't auto increment like the tag does, but I would call this one RTU_2. And then I'll go to this one and I'll call it RTU_3. Maybe I won't. Let me change it. There we go. Okay, notice, team, that I made this 3, this one 2, and this one's 1. By default, drop number is always 1, so I'll go here, go to this guy, change this number 2, and change this one to number 3. So that works as well. You can do that over the serial, and you can do that over 45 and 232 also. Yep. Now, I'm going to do something else here, buddy. In this, I'm going to go over here to the left. What did I call that? Did I call it anything? I call this, let me do this. Back here, let me go back here, data tags, and I'll just quickly create an RTU. And so under this, I'll do just like I did with the Modicon. Go here, go down here. Notice the name's awesome. I'll email you this thing when I get done. There we go. Click OK. And just like we did earlier, H4K_1. And once again, I get the duplicate and it automatically increments the number and the register. So, all right, let me show you something else here. Because you have the DA30, I don't have all the stuff connected, but I'm going to try something, team. I'm going to go, let me save this program real quick here, buddy. Give me a second. I'm going to go File, Save As. I taught a class this week, so I was just organizing my pictures, team. Oops. Here with Bimbo, so I'll go here, and I'll go here, and then give me a second here, team. Yep, you're looking at B. Oops. BIM, here we go. Okay, and I'm going to call this one, because I'll email this to you when I'm done, DA30_ today's date is 25/08/13. There we go. All right, so I want to just quickly make a little demo that might work. So I'm going to create a new tag, and I'm going to call this one AI_1. And I'm going to call it AI, because that's going to stand for analog input. And this analog input, I'm going to make it be a function that ramps up and down from 0 to 100, for instance. Now, blue means it's internal. I could easily, if I had real stuff here, I could map it to something like this, and then it'll go to red or green. Where red is read and write, green is that input, and so forth. But instead, I want to make this guy kind of internal, and I want to use a built-in tool to simulate. So down here in the lower right-hand corner at Crimson, there's a section called System. If I expand the functions tree, there are hundreds of pre-built functions in here. If I slide all the way down, there's a category, I believe, called Tag Data. And in here, there's a function called Get Up Down Data. And matter of fact, any of these functions, if you right-click and do Show Help Info, it'll open up a PDF to that document. My computer doesn't seem to like, So my computer, I have a problem with Adobe for some reason. So I've got a PDF viewer here already running. And whoops, where'd it go? So if I go, this thing is in my way. There we go. So if I go over here, this is the same thing. And I was telling you, I want to use Get Up Down Data. Get Up Down Data. It's like a song, really. Get up, RSTUV. Right here. Right. So if you look, team, it gives you the rules and it shows you a limit. And this thing, all it does is it counts up and down to some target number. That's all it does. And I want to use this just for simulation. So I'm going to go back to here, watch this. One of the coolest things about Crimson is the ability to drag and drop. So I'm going to grab this function and try to drag and drop it right here on the word internal. Bam. That maps it to there. The tag turned yellow. And then in here, there's another function called disp count. And all it does is count up and up forever. It's like the national debt. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Oops. And then I want to count to 100. So if I did this correctly, hit enter, it took it. Okay. Now I want to see if this is going to work. And what I'm getting at, team, is I'm going to try to use the emulator for this. So if I go over here to the left display pages, here's the raw page. I may have made this really big for the emulator. That might be a problem, but we'll find out. Let me go here. I'm gonna change the background here to this color, white, just for giggles. Now, if I go over to the right, data tags, I'm gonna grab this dude and drag it on the page. Notice, team, how small that font is. So if I click anywhere else, I call this losing focus. Then if I just hover over, I get a blue, I'll click one time. This set of icons will make it bigger, and this one will bold it. So if I go ahead and try again, boom, 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 boom. And this is bold. And once I get done, I got the hazard signs because I need to make the box a little bigger. All right. Now, I'm going to try this with the emulator. And what I mean by try it with the emulator is if I go to the link pull down, go down to the word options, instead of sending to a real device, which is what I have here at my office, and you're going to get yours in, you'll use USB. In this case, I'm going to check send to emulator. So I'm going to try this to run in the emulator, and it'll run for 15 minutes, closes, and you just re-download it. But let's try it. So I'll click OK. And then this button here actually is the magic Shazam button. That lightning bolt is I call it the Shazam. Redline calls it the downloader. Yeah. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Boom. See what it does here. Yep. It's going to replace. I use the emulator all the time. Let's see here. All right. So if you look, can you guys see that?
Yep.
So look, it is counting up. It should count all the way to 100, and then at 100, recycle back down to 1,000. See? And so it's going up and down. Now, to close the emulator, you can hit the escape button or tab across. Now, my problem might be is I might have it too big. All right. Give me a second, team. I'm going to save this. Let me go back here, and I'm going to just shrink our screen just a bit because I'm using the emulator. So I'll go with something smaller. And I'm going to go with that. So then I'll hit here, commit changes, it'll rebuild. And since that's all I got on the page, that'll work. Okay. All right. Perfect. Now, watch this. I'm going to do that. Okay. All right. So if I wanted to use, for instance, some gauges, if I go over here to the right, there's a category called gauges in primitives. And there's all kinds of gauges here. They all operate the same way. So I could grab a gauge out like this, for instance. And I want this to track this thing here. So if I double click on this or right click, go to properties, it should bring you into the format tab. And because we want to link this to our AI tag. So once again, over here on the right, Crimson automatically kicked you down to data tags. You're just going to grab this tag, and it's all about drag and drop right here, boom, right there. And if you notice that the min and max is grayed out, because by default 0 to 100, I always play it a little safe. I go ahead and take this here, and then this guy here, but this one I want to be the minimum property. So I'll just double click here and I'll do .min, and this one's the max. So I'll do .max. All right, let me hit OK. Team, let's see what happens here. Let me go save. I always save before I download, and we'll go ahead and do this. Boom, and see what it does. Now the screen will be a bit smaller, but that's all right. Did I screw something up here? Hold on, let me go back to where it was. AI, min. Oh, I know what the problem is. Okay, so I dragged this min and max out, assuming that it was getting the same from the tag, and that's what I do in class all the time. The problem is, back here at the data tag, at this tag, if I go to the format, since the min and max here are not declared, that thing doesn't know what's considered 0 and what's the max. So I'm going to put in here like that. And now if I go back to here, let's go ahead and download this. Let me save it. Watch. This time we should get the thing to count up and down. There. See it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Same token, if I wanted to build a quick tank that would show this, there you go. I'll go back to my Crimson here. And if I go over here to the right and go to symbols on the right, and in Symbol Factory, if I slide all the way down, let me go into a category, for instance, called tanks. Actually, well, I'll show you real quick here. If I go into tanks, there's all kinds of tanks in here, all kinds. In my class that I teach, we actually make a whole tank widget. So I'll just quickly use that real quick for this. I got a category called widgets, and I don't know why I started this team, but I have all kinds of pre-built widgets here. So the one I did this week in Houston's this guy. So if I drag it out here like so, let me move this over. Of course, we're using a bigger screen in the class, so I'm gonna fix that here in a second. But this tank level here is I'm gonna use this for my little demo. So if I go properties, and that's gonna be the level raw, I'll grab this guy, put it right here. Let's just see if it works. Oh yeah, that's it. Never mind. Hold on. Yep, that's right. Because in the class, I have that. Oh, I'll say it. What's this guy? Try this guy. Oops. All right, give me a second, team. I'm gonna rebuild my page here to be what's the word I want to say? Higher resolution, a little bit bigger. So I'm gonna go here, hardware general settings. Go here. Okay. Where is my thing here? All right, commit. All right, now back to here. Just give me a little bigger page. Okay. So here, widgets. And if I slide all the way down, I don't remember this one, but let's try it real quick. We'll do this. Yep, whatever. Properties. We'll grab this guy. Still give me the error. Okay. Okay. I'll click OK. And I don't know about the scale, so let me check this out real quick. Aha. That really should be this guy here. Well, we'll do this. Oops, hold on. That should do the default. Okay, perfect. All right, let's try it, team. I'll save it, download it, watch. Yep. My emulator comes. Oh, did I not connect that? All right, hold on. I'm tap dancing my best here, team. That's the tag. It should be level. Yeah, it's integer. It's perfectly fine. What's the problem here? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. You're killing me, Jose. Hold on. This is what happens when I did a folder binding thing. Hold on, team. There we go. And I'll just do this 0. We'll make this guy. There we go. The only thing that this won't work. Hold on. Let's just say, yep, this is also. Oh, all right. Okay. There you go. See it?
Nice.
Yep. Yeah. And I got one more thing here, and then I'm done. I mean, for a real quick show and tell, I'll send this to you. But if I go back here to Crimson, I'm going to make this guy a lot smaller. Shrink it down like that. We know this works. We'll put it over here. We'll take this over here. Let's just quickly say, team, that I want to chart and trend that value right here. So if I go over here to the left, go to data log over here. I'm going to go ahead and quickly set up a data logger. So I'll create a new one right here. Boom, right there. I'm going to, for this example, the fastest we can log is every 200 milliseconds. I'll do 300 samples, whatever. If I go to contents, I'm just going to drag this one tag. That's all I got. That'll do that. Now, if I go back here to display pages on the left, move this out of the way here. If I go to my home directory, my primitives, there's a category in here called system primitives, and there's a trend viewer. I'll just drag this out real quick here. I'm going to go ahead and double click on this guy to bring up its properties. And on the options, I'm going to tell it to use log 1. I want the size would be 30 seconds, for instance, and I can make the bigger, and I can do show cursor. The only other thing I do, team, is I like the background, in my opinion, of this one. If the background's black, it really pops. All right, let's go ahead and try it real quick. Boom, save it. Always download it. I save after I download. It should be pushing it to the emulator. Let's see what it does here. So if you look, of course, our AI, we know that just goes up and down to 0 to 100, but you can see the trend chart over there doing the same thing, and it's going to oscillate back and forth. Here's something cool. If I click here, it'll stop at that moment, and I can see exactly at that time what the values were, and then I can go back to live and let it run. This window right now spans 30 seconds. You can make that window tab all the way out to 48 hours if you want. And
Wow.
I can't do it in the emulator, but if I had the real thing, which is you're going to have, you just put a cheap SD memory card in there. It's actually trying to store this to the memory card, which is our hard drive, as a CSV file. So, for instance, at my home office, since I'm a Nerd Central here, I have a bunch of stuff online. So here's one at my home office, and I'm currently trending a bunch of these things. I can interact with these, change them. But if I go to the trend viewer here, this button right here, you can see that I can interact with them and let it run. I don't know why my computer is being so slow. It's weird. I think something is eating my memory because it's not filling in like it normally was. But who knows? I haven't reset my computer for a couple of days, so that could be the problem. Anyway, if I go back to here, watch this. If I go back to the main listing and click on View Logs, and then I can look at the log file. You can look at the log file here, and you notice this is 2507, 15, 16. That's weird. Watch this. If I go all the way down to the bottom, wait a minute. This one says 2508, 13. This is 12. What do you guys see right there, team? You see the date. This file apparently is created a new file once a day. See that? This is August 12th, was yesterday, I think. Today is August 13th. If you notice something, they usually always become the same size because, well, for one, I haven't played in here for a while, but they should be around the same size. So this is the file for today. Now, if I click on this, it's a pretty big file, so it might take this thing a second or two to download because it's about a 3 meg. But see how it came in as like a convoluted mess? Hold on. If I go back here, and if I do right click and do save link as, I'm going to quickly save this to my desktop once it pops up here. So I'll save this to my desktop right here. Google Chrome always likes to save everything as a text file. So I'll do .csv and then hit the pull down here like this. Now watch this, team. I'm going to hit save. Once it's done, I can click on the file here and it should open up Excel. And look, it gives me the date, timestamp, and right now I'm reading every second for this file. So at the end of this day, I bet you guys don't know this, but there are 86,400 seconds in every day. So eventually, this file will have 86,400 lines in here. Pretty big, but anyway, that's it. So Daniel, I'm going to save this program that I have, and I'll email it to you. I'm also going to email you the link to Crimson 3.2. After you install the software, you should be able to open this file, and this little button right here, is the shortcut to the emulator. Okay. If this has a tan background, then it will download to the emulator. And the first time you go to run the emulator, it's going to ask you to install some WinPCAP software. Go ahead and say yes to that, and then it should let you run. The only caveat to the emulator is that after 15 minutes, it shuts off. So you'll hear it beep, and then you just re-download again. No big deal, but yeah. And that's my story.